Welcome back. The flood havoc continues in the IT capital of India. Heavy rainfall coupled with corruption, negligence and poor urban planning has dealt a significant blow to the economic engine of Karnataka and has turned the city into a death trap. While both the Congress and the BJP have resorted to a blame game for the mess in Bengaluru, which has become an embarrassment for the country, around the globe, CNN News 18 has uncovered how the builder mafia, patronized by all political parties, is at the root of this crisis. The Karnataka government has been going soft on builders, and the case in point is the 2,300 crore special economic zone, that is the SEZ, in Bengaluru, that is yet to be demolished despite the orders of the National Green Tribunal and the Supreme Court. Not a single inch of wetland has been recovered. Not a penalty has been collected even after the NGT order in 2016, which called for an immediate recovery and restoration of 100 acres of Bengaluru wetland identified as sensitive. It also imposed a penalty of 130 crore on two infrastructure firms called Mantri Tech Zone and Core Mind Software. The Supreme Court in 2020 upheld the NGT order and quashed a curative petition by the builders. The BBMP believes that the overflowing of the Bengaluru and Varthur lakes has caused the current floods in Mahadevpura, one of the worst affected areas of Bengaluru. So when will action be taken against such builders who jeopardize the safety and security of an entire city? Why has the political class been dragging its feet since 2016? Before I get the guests, here's a ground report by Harish.
If the city of Bengaluru is drowning today, it's largely because of the government and builders mafia, the nexus between both of them. And today we bring you an exclusive ground report that shows how it operates. We are outside the Bengaluru wetlands, and what you see behind me is a 2,300 crore project that has been stopped by the NGT in 2016 and has asked the government to recover 130 crore rupees from the builders, monthly developers, and ensure that this building is demolished and the wetlands are recovered and resorted back to its original form. And the builders approached the Supreme Court in 2020, and the Supreme Court made it very clear that it can't go on and upheld the NGT order. Despite that, nothing has happened. The government hasn't recovered the penalty money, neither has it demolished this building, neither has it put any efforts to recover and restore the wetlands here. The IAC said that this project, which is around 2,300 crore rupees one, was actually destroying the wetlands of Bengaluru and also encroaching on the channel connecting Agara Lake to the Bengaluru Lake. You can already see, because of the rain, the nature getting back to what it's actually belongs to it. You have water inundating this project site, and the government hasn't done anything. The BBMP says that it's the Bengaluru and Varthur Lake overflowing which has led to a lot of flooding in Mahadevpura area. But on the other hand, you have the government that hasn't acted at all for over the last 5 years. 2016 is when the NGT order came. The Supreme Court in 2020 upheld that order. Still, no efforts to reclaim this wetland area, destroy this particular building and restore the wetland. Neither any efforts to recover the penalty. And you've had the government blaming the previous government, and both BJP, Congress, JDS saying that they did not destroy the city of Bengaluru. But it's very clear that successive governments have failed, and that's the reason the city is here, and this is a prime example of it.
Joining me now, Dr. M. Ramachandran. He is the former Secretary of Urban Development. Kamran is a Bengaluru citizen, and we also have Chokko Veliappa. He is CEO of VEE Technologies. I'm going to begin with you, Mr. Ramachandran. Is this clear evidence that builders have been given a free run to construct projects anywhere, no matter the environmental impact?
From what you have presented, it appears like that. I don't know how they got their clearances and how they could start construction. And it's I cannot really figure out if there is an order of the NGT or if it has been upheld by the Supreme Court, and it's probably 2 years plus now. Why is it not being implemented? I just cannot understand what is the logic behind that unless there is a stay or intervention from some other level, which probably is not there. So one can't understand why the orders are not being implemented. It's very unfortunate
Yes.
situation.
Yes, because the NGT order was given in 2016. It is 2022 and this case has been under the purview of all three parties, the Congress, the JDS and the BJP. Who does Bengaluru turn to then, Mr. Kamran? As a citizen, who will you turn to?
So as I have lived in Bangalore for a very long time, this case of Raj Kaluve and flood it keeps happening every time there is heavy rain. So I think in 2016 you're talking of the NGT order, but also in 2016 there was another action taken by Bangalore Metropolitan Task Force, who had which under the under the leadership of the BBMP chairman then, who had filed an FIR against 20 government officers also for giving illegal permission. And that time also they had planned to, demolish around 400 buildings. This was once again near the Bengaluru lake. And after around a demolition of 100 apartments or single owned houses, not apartments. So these are single owner houses, they had stopped, taken a break. Again, this time, if you see, the same thing happened similar thing happened in 2018, where around 400 tin houses were demolished overnight near Kariyamanna Agrahara, which is also near Bengaluru. And in that, around 1,500 people were, made homeless. That time, the mayor of BBMP was Sampath Raj. And again, same thing has happened in 2022. If you see, once again, what they have done is they have demolished the shanties, or slum houses. But every time, whenever there is something like this,
so you destroy the slums, but whenever there is a public anger, you don't destroy these buildings.
Exactly. There is no destruction or nothing happens to these apartments or the villa complexes. But the first one to go are the tin houses, which are mostly of temporary construction nature. And again, after this rain stops, these will come back. So I was also looking at a 2013 order, which was on Raj Kaluve, not in Bangalore, near Mahadevpura, but that was in Padmanabh Nagar. So that time, there's a Raj Kaluve, which was going through an apartment called Terrace Garden Apartment. And I was checking Google Map.
Okay.
I also tweeted that right through one of the buildings, there's a Raj Kaluve. And that time, to construct that, to demolish, had demolished one of the houses. And the story,
so
I think it was in Deccan
the
Herald.
easier solution that the BBMP has taken so far is destroy the slums, blame it on the slum dwellers.
Destroy people who do not have, say,
access
to
but the actual
system.
people who are supposed to be blamed, the builders, they have been given a free run.
Exactly.
Mr. Valiappa, have we reached a situation where the political class is appearing to be subservient to the money power of the builder mafia?
No, actually, it's interesting to note that, this has happened across, and now the wake-up call that we saw at least was the Twin Towers in Delhi.
Yes.
And we saw the Supertech building literally getting demolished. I think now the problem is, earlier our perception as a normal citizen was that if there is an illegal building, it's an illegal building, it should be demolished. But now, if there is an illegal building, it is maybe it's detrimental to people's lives because they're on drains. And for example, the CM himself in question hour has said that there are 382 acres of drains that has been encroached. So now this means that you're denying a sea of people, maybe thousands of people, their lives are at stake because their homes are getting demolished, are getting inundated with water. So I think the point now is it's a point of it's an inflection point, and I think it's a wake-up call for everybody more so than ever to say that it's not just going to cause that person problem, but it's going to cause.
Mr. Valiappa, have people started going back to offices? Because we did see very disturbing images come in from Bengaluru, where people were taking boats to their offices. And offices being shut.
Our offices it's only one portion of Bangalore. If you take a clock, probably just 1 hour of Bangalore among the 12 just to give you that example,
Yes, yes.
which is affected. So the rest of Bangalore is still fine, but it's just that those two lakes which has breached, which is causing the problem. And Bangalore is a city of lakes. So unlike other cities which are next to an ocean or a river or any of that, Bangalore had perhaps over 1,000 lakes. Now each of these lakes, each of our stadiums is a lake.
Yeah.
Like if you take a cricket stadium, football, whatever. So all these stadiums have now sprung up there. So there's nowhere for these water to go across. So we need to create new lakes, or we need to create a path for the lakes to overflow into. So that's what is needed. And if you look at the spending in the BBMP budget, the annual maintenance of the drains is just 50 crores for a drainage system of over 842
That's really not a priority for municipalities that we see, and that is the reason why most cities have this problem of waterlogging, but it became worse for Bengaluru. Dr. Ramachandran, the nexus is ruining most cities, I would say, but what we saw in Uttar Pradesh, as pointed by Mr. Veliappa, that action being taken, Supertech towers demolished after a long legal fight. Why are we seeing the situation go from bad to worse in Bengaluru?
If you're talking about unauthorized construction, apparently there is something wrong as far as the entire system is concerned. As far as waterlogging is concerned, it's a larger issue related not only to the lakes in this part, but in other parts also, whether proper drainage exists or not, where there is, it's properly cleaned or not. But drainage does not take a priority in the scheme of things of a local body. That's an unfortunate fact. And I've been stressing this point. Ideally, a city should have a proper drainage master plan whereby water can flow in a certain direction and it can get out rather than getting accumulated. But construction happens, concretization happens, water does not know where to go. There is more concretized space, there is no seepage possible. So all this together creates complications. The unfortunate part is cities do not have a priority for building drains.
Yes.
And cities do not have the type of expertise to look at rainfall data over a period of time and see how much water gets accumulated during a particular heavy rain or so, and where should it be going. That is an unfortunate reality. So the local body system is not geared to take up issues like this and find a solution. My favorite suggestion always is the type of governance we have for mega cities that needs to undergo a change. Yes. We cannot have the same type of municipal corporation and local body for Bengaluru or New Delhi and also for a very small town. What we need is specialized wings in each local body which can take care of these issues and a more accountable system of governance as far as the elected local body is concerned. These changes have to happen. We are conventionally stuck to a three-layer system of very small towns, town areas, in between municipal councils, and then the next level is corporations. We don't look at the staffing pattern, we don't look at the requirements, we don't look at the basics. I also always try to link this point with what is called service level benchmarks, which years back the Ministry of Urban Development had advocated, which means for each sector like water management or drainage or sewage and all, there should be certain benchmarks set for each city, and each city over a period of time should be able to move forward, and they should be accountable to the people as to how much they have moved as far as working towards this benchmarks is concerned.
Okay.
I mean, these are all very well stated. I don't think anyone has interest in these things. Ultimately, the interest boils down to giving more approvals for construction.
I have just enough time for Kamran, the citizen of Bengaluru. Kamran, quickly, final words to you.
Very quickly, just wanted to say whatever Ramachandran sir says, they're all part of the existing law. For example, we have something called as Gomala land by the law. What Gomala land is basically land which has to be left open for animal grazing and for government purpose. The idea behind that is these open lands will absorb water in case of flash flood or rain.
Yes.
So what has happened over the years is people have built houses and government have taken money or put a small fine and legalize those Gomala land. One.
Right.
Second, there was a legislation which said every time you build a layout, 35% of that layout space has to be green space. Under Siddaramaiah government, that was changed from 35 to 28%. Third, most of these floodings that we have seen has happened in the new part of Bangalore, not in the old part of Bangalore.
Yes, that's right.
say Mahadevpura, which has developed in the last say 15 to 20 years.
Kamran, I've
And also in
really
Hebbal
run
area,
short
which
of time. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Ramchandran and also Chakko Valiappa. Shifting focus to our last story of this evening, the national capital's